bringing forward the achievement of your major goals, bringing forward those things you really want to get to. How do you do it? Well, look, one of the things you've got complete control over, and it's perhaps the biggest single influence on this outcome, is your own time and how you manage it. So I'm going to share with you 3 straightforward steps as to how you can go about better investing your time so that you achieve the bigger things sooner and get to your goals faster. Because in the end, where you get to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 3 years from now, it will be a direct consequence of how you invest your time between now and then. So 3 straightforward techniques that you can put in place straight away to, accelerate the achievement of your goals. Now, the first of these just comes down to how you plan your time. And I don't want to go through all time planning methodologies. I simply want to make one point. In the end, it's the high value activities, the important activities, some people call them leveraged activities, the things you do once in your business and then you get benefit from for a long time to come. Choosing those activities, not just that they're urgent, not just that someone's shouting at you or that you received the email yesterday or it popped up on Facebook this morning, but actually the things in your plan that you know are going to shift the dial. The things that might not be easy, might not be straightforward, might take a little time and effort, but these are the things that are genuinely going to advance your business and advance your progress towards your goals. So it starts with understanding what are those things. Look at your plan, look at your 12-month plan, your 90-day plan, see what they are and make sure that those things are getting priority in your time allocation each week. Make sure that when you're allocating time for the week and indeed for the next day, that it starts with where do I get those things done? What is the time I need to put aside to get those high value things that are important, that are going to shift the dial? Start with that. Don't start with what's the last email I got, what's the last phone call I got, what's the most urgent thing. Those things always come up. Start with what are the most important high value things that are going to actually get me somewhere. Schedule time for those first. Now, the second tip is when you schedule it. Now, all sorts of people make different comments to me about I like mornings, afternoons, evenings, night times. I accept that some people might be a bit different, but not really. Morning is when you need to schedule these things. Brian Tracy talks about eat the frog. If you've got to eat a live frog tomorrow, sort of on pain of death, you're better off doing it in the morning so you get it over and done with and it doesn't hang over you all day. In addition to that, your mental acuity, your mental energy is going to be higher earlier in the day. Your decision-making energy is higher earlier in the day. You also haven't been overrun yet by all the things that will come up during the day, all the other distractions and calls and emails and challenges and so on. So schedule that time in the morning. Ideally, first thing in the morning. Put aside that 2-hour block to get that high-value activity done, that task completed. Someone once mentioned to me, he said, what you want to operate to, Andrew, he said, you just want to have a 2-hour work day. And he wasn't saying that you only work for 2 hours. What he was saying, though, is that if you start work at 8 o'clock in the morning, by 10 o'clock in the morning, you want to be able to say, I've meaningfully progressed my business. By 10 o'clock in the morning, I have advanced my business. I've improved my business in a way that has sustainable benefit. I love that approach. First thing in the morning, get into it and deliver value early in the day. So that means the rest of the day you can attend to the urgent things. You can do the other things and you're still going to feel good. If you went home at lunchtime, you've still advanced the business. So schedule these things earlier in the day to make sure you've got a realistic chance of them actually getting done. And then perhaps the most important, this is where the rubber hits the road. We've all had that experience of it. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, reminder pops up in your calendar. It's time to sit down and spend 2 hours writing the new marketing plan, writing that new recruitment process, preparing the training plan for your team. These are high value tasks that you do once, you get benefit from repeatedly or for a long period of time. They're not instant gratification though. They don't deliver that. They're not that exciting for most people. There's no payoff straight away. So they're very, very easy to procrastinate on. Now, how do you avoid that? And my favorite tip comes from one of my early coaches. And what he used to say to me, he used to say, Andrew, you just got to win the 1-minute battles. That's the secret to time management. Win the 1-minute battles. What that means is that when that reminder pops up in your calendar and it's set aside 2 hours to work on your new marketing plan, for example, and you feel like it would be a whole lot easier to just spend a bit more time on Facebook, or perhaps I could respond to a couple of those emails that came in overnight, and that way I'd get a quick result, I'd get instant gratification, and I'm a human, so I love that. When that feeling comes up, you have to just start. You must start that task, start working on that marketing plan. Now, the theory is as follows, and it's pretty real. If you get through 1 minute of it, the chances are you'll get through 10 minutes. Now, at some point between 7 and 10 minutes, you'll actually go into flow. If you actually stay focused on an activity for that period of time, you'll go into the flow state. And suddenly it becomes quite easy to stay in. It also becomes incredibly productive to stay in. So the secret really is to get to the 10-minute mark, and that's not difficult if you just start. So win the 1 minute battles. Now, it goes without saying during this time, you need to have your phone turned off. Of course you do. You need to have your notifications turned off on your computer. If you've got things binging up and the phone ringing and so on, you're kidding yourself. You're absolutely kidding yourself. I mean, read any of the books about how the brain works and you'll understand what a distraction does to your focus. It's painful. It's diabolical. So it's pretty simple. They all have on-off buttons. Hopefully you can find it. And it's fairly straightforward to use. And at that point, simply start. My favourite experience of this, when I've written a few books, and sometimes that was the sort of thing I'd procrastinate on. I knew I'd scheduled 2 hours to write the next chapter or whatever I was scheduled to do that day. And you get no payoff. I mean, your payoff on that is months, if not years away. And it was so easy to procrastinate. So I got in a good habit of just starting. I didn't care what I wrote. I was typing away what I wrote in the first minute and even the first 10 minutes. A lot of it was absolute rubbish. I knew I could come back and edit it. What I needed to do was to get into the flow state of writing. So I just started and wrote. And it's the same for most tasks. If you start, you'll get to 10 minutes. And if you focus for 10 minutes, you should get into flow, in which case it becomes a whole lot easier. The bottom line with all of this, the 3 steps, and they're all straightforward. Get clear on what is actually the highest value, the most important stuff you need to do. Schedule it early in the day, in typically about 90-minute or 2-hour blocks, so that it can actually get done, and then start. Just win the 1 minute battles. All of which, very straightforward, highly productive, and if you actually make progress on those high value important things each day, the speed with which you'll achieve your goals will accelerate massively. Enjoy it, and all the best.